Hello, my name is Michael Porteous. I'm the Product Manager for Learning Technologies in Australian Higher Education. Welcome to this webinar on MyLab Transition, where we'll be showing you the benefits of using Pearson's MyEducationLab. Now, this should only take about 15 to 20 minutes, but I hope that we'll impart not just what the MyLab can do, but how you might be able to effectively integrate it into your teaching to achieve measurable results. So I've left everyone on mute for the time being because I want to move through this presentation fairly quickly, but I appreciate that you might have some questions along the way. So please use the webinar question chat system to ask any questions, and at the end of the presentation I'll answer as many as I can. I'll turn people's mics on if we need to talk. But for the moment, what are these new MyLabs? How are they different from your previous Pearson technologies, and what can it really do for you? So the new MyEducationLab is not just a glorified test bank as many class technologies are, or just a place to dump media in the hope that students find and use them. When we designed these MyLabs, we started from the ground up to create something that fits your course needs as best as we can. So the new MyEducationLab is available for 4 of our titles, giving a really huge range of coverage. We've created courses in MyEducationLab for Booker teaching primary mathematics and Marsh's Becoming a Teacher, which just published quite recently. And we've also made them for Tompkins Literacy in the 21st Century and Ashman's Education for Inclusion and Diversity, which are all going to be published very soon for semester classes in 2015. So to help make these books and MyLabs as strong as possible, Pearson Australia has done extensive course outline research across the nation, along with in-depth interviews and surveys. We found the common themes and trends in education that are the foundations for the entire product offering and align with the MyLab technology and the book as well. These learner outcomes are really important at the core level of this product. Most importantly, however, it will help your students to achieve understanding of the underpinning discipline content and how it fits into professional life as a teacher. The system also promotes greater academic success, improved retention, and is backed by really easy to use course management features. This is something we stand behind as an effective teaching and learning tool, and also the same experience runs across most Pearson technologies in the first year, so students get a unified experience when using Pearson products as well. So knowing this, let's delve into the learner experience and see how your students will be able to achieve improved results and understanding using the MyLabs. So the key kind of benefits you get from this as a student will be personalised learning, motivation, and engagement. So personalised learning has become a major differentiator in student success. In our MyLab, students have access to a personalised study plan which is built from the analysis of diagnostic tests as well as results from your own assignments as well. The study plan directs students to the exact learning objectives they need to master, giving them a unique learning path to follow and complete. So here we can see that students in sections will be told what they need to master. They can practice the questions as many times as they want before they get a quiz to make sure that they have actually mastered it. So it's all about learning, understanding, and then making sure that they have mastered that particular part. When students achieve a mastery within one of your tests or the diagnostic, then they will not get these questions. So it's only going to direct them to the section that they actually need trouble doing. So every student is going to have a very different study plan based on their unique needs. Some students will have to do a lot more work, some will do a lot less work, just depending on how much extra work they need for mastery. And here we can just see that along the way, they get ticked off for all those learning objectives they go through. And you can turn on and off chapters as you need as well if you don't cover everything in the book to make sure students aren't doing work outside of the course content. The MyLab also provides help at the point of learning with answer-specific feedback and links to appropriate learning resources which help them diagnose misconceptions and build the learner's understanding and confidence when they need it most, when they're actually doing those tests, to make sure that they're actually getting that help when they need it, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or in the middle of the day when they can't even access help from a tutor or yourself, perhaps if you're already working. So here we've got an example of the feedback that you get. So rather than just see this page in a textbook, rather than just telling them it's right or wrong, it actually gives them some actual feedback which helps them understand why they might have got that wrong and helps direct them to the right answer. So this part is really about making sure the students are learning and understanding, not just being assessed on what they know, which you can also do, but the learning process is so important. And we have another example here of a choose many type question, not just multiple choice, choose one. Students can also send an email to you if you leave this on, or an email to a tutor as well. So it's a way that they can communicate very easily at the point where the question is. And to add to this online engagement, our new MyLabs are mobile friendly through your browser or dedicated apps. They're all available on basically any device to be able to be used. So keeping students motivated can be a challenge also, especially from those in the transition from high school to university in the first year. So Pearson's MyLabs provide ways to keep students engaged inside and outside the classroom with motivational tools and an easy-to-use interface as well. Here we've got an example of the student dashboard that they're greeted with when they first log in and when they log in every other time as well. So it makes sure that students know their progress through the MyLab at any given time, and it gives them a sense of progress and ownership of their learning as well. So you can see that they can see when upcoming assignments are due, any announcements that we as a publisher make or any announcements you want to make through the system as well. They can see their overall score, they can see the course timeline, their scores within the test they're doing. They can see how much of their homework they've completed, how many quizzes, tests, and also the study plan can be there as well. So they can really understand where they are in their course and how much they've done at just a very simple glance. Now also we have a badges systems that they can complete. As you can see here underneath the My Progress, they can see as they complete work they get badges or achievements that can help motivate them, give them a goal towards getting caught. They can see that on their dashboard, and they can also click through to see all available achievements. So these achievements are there for excellent work and also for consistent work. So when they do very well on exams and tests, they can get awards. If they just can constantly do work in the study plan, they can also get badges. So it helps, those that need to just get work done. It helps the high achievers. It motivates them, gives them something to work towards and something to compare with their mates. Without engaging content, though, it can be a bit of an uphill battle for the attention of your students with so many other distractions in their life. So this is where the MyLab provides you and your students with a range of rich media, videos and so forth, that will capture, teaching and education and bring that to life in their learning. So we've got a huge range of videos that cover all aspects of teaching. Depending on the book that we're going with, there'll be different sets of videos covering different things. Literacy videos, inclusion videos, teaching practice videos, classroom videos. There's heaps there that you can get and give to your students to make sure that they're getting a real sense of how things work actually out there in the teaching world. So these assets will really engage your students with real life, relevant and professional application-based learning. So speaking of engagement, how do you engage students in the classroom? What captures and actually holds their attention? What makes them come to class? How do you even measure the engagement and learning in a classroom situation? So to help with this classroom engagement and learning aspect, our MyLabs now come with a bring your own device student engagement and assessment system called Learning Catalytics. Now this gives you the tools to promote active learning in the classroom and also peer learning as well with certain modes. So using Learning Catalytics, rather than sitting back and expecting to have content pushed at them, students can expect class to be interesting, challenging. It'll make them think and interact, not just, have you talk at them. They'll really be able to have a chance to give information back to you about what they're learning, and you can very quickly see what they're doing at that point in time as well. So we've already seen a significant increase to attendance and student interest in face-to-face teaching around the world using the system, and I'll talk a bit more about this later. Now, we do however realise that learners, especially in that first year, are not yet as independent as we might like them to be. You also might have extremely large courses and perhaps having less face-to-face time because more of your aspects of your teaching are being forced to move online. Now, these challenges can be more manageable with the Pearson MyLab, providing with a simple and supported solution. The three benefits that you're going to get from using a MyLab: streamlined course delivery and marking, easy and insightful data analytics, and engaging experiences, which is really important for students and for academics as well. So first of all, MyEducationLab makes delivering learning activities for formative or summative assessment really simple and easy. Firstly, Pearson MyLabs integrate with all major learning management systems: Blackboard, Desire2Learn, Moodle. We can integrate with all of them. It provides a single sign-on experience for students, allowing a single-click access from your course to our systems without the student even really noticing. We can also work to get a gradebook synchronization with your learning management system as well, so that you can choose assignments that you want to link back and feed into the LMS, where we know that a lot of your formal grades must sit. So all your students are going to need from this is an access code and a course ID from when you first set up the course, so they can enroll into that unit initially, and then that's all they need to do apart from logging in. So alternatively, we can work with your faculty to implement a fully integrated system where students are automatically enrolled into the correct subject based on your learning management system information. And this can take away nearly every single part of the enrollment administration tasks of the MyLab. So the MyLabs also make creating learning tasks really simple. There's a three-step process basically. So we know that there's a lot of complicated technology out there, so we want to make sure that we show you just how simple it is to create an assignment or a learning activity or whatever you'd like to call it. So to start with, you create an assignment, you choose whether it's for formative or summative, whether it's a homework or a quiz, basically whether it's got help or whether it's just going to be assessing them, and decide if that links with your study plan as well, which we suggest is a good idea. But we also have another option for creating a writing assignment that allows for streamlined rubric-based marking with peer review and also plagiarism checking through Turnitin. So it's basically an assisted graded essay assignment. So down here you can see you can set rubrics. We've got our own, but you can change them, and you simply grade them on that, and you can change the overall grade if you want. You can also add inline comments, give feedback to the student, multiple drafts. There's a lot of functionality in there if you're doing a lot of written assignments, so it's an easy way to be able to do that. So the second step, if you're doing a quiz or a homework, is to choose the content, choosing relevant and engaging content from the library. So we've got publisher questions, we've got custom questions if you want to create your own or modify ours, and you can basically click on these to bring up the question you want, which you saw before, work through as a student or see the answer as an instructor, decide whether that is what you want basically, and then all you do is click it, click add, put it into the assignment, and then you can change its positioning. You can assign different grades to each particular one. There's a lot of depth if you want to go into the actual settings here, but most importantly, you can easily break it down by the chapter and section and choose the content you want very quickly, and then put that up for students to see. And so the last part is to be able to set a range of parameters on how students engage with your assignments, how they're marked, and how it's delivered. So there's a heap of options here, but very simply you can choose when it's available, when the due date is, what happens if it's a late submission, do they get partial credit, do you want to set prerequisites for the assignments, they have to work in a certain order. There's a lot of depth in there. There's more options that go off the screen, and this has been compiled over a decade of this particular platform running. So we've really taken on board what instructors have been telling us for many, many years what they want. You don't need to use all these options, but they're there if you want to make sure that this fits into the way that you want to run your learning activities in your particular class. So data analytics, easy and insightful data analytics, are a key part of the MyLab solution. This allows you maximum visibility into your students' performance and also your own teaching in an easy to use and very simple way. So the gradebook in our MyLabs does much more than just store student marks from the assignment. It also allows multiple reports that at a couple of mouse clicks can give you insights into your class as a whole, or insight into individual students right down to every answer they submit into the system. So here, ignore that one, this is from a marketing one actually, the screenshot, but you can select view by student, You can look at how they're doing through the study plan. You can see how their performance goes based on a chapter of the books. You can also see here inactivity. So if students are not logging in, if they're not doing work, this will flag inactive students, and this is really important. So you can very quickly see those students that might not be doing their work, and you can possibly then contact them, make sure that they're okay, or refer them to a tutor or a learning officer or whoever you have on campus that can be able to help. But it's a very easy way to find that out rather than finding out at a mid-semester exam when they fail or don't show up. So it's a really useful tool to finding those that might be struggling or disengaging with the subject. Any work that needs grading, if it's a writing assignment, we'll show here. And you have a lot of options up here, which is too much to go into, but you have so much flexibility with this gradebook. But very quickly at a glance, you can see a lot of information. So here's the overview by student. You can see what work the students are doing, how they're going, and each of these blue links will take you down deeper. So this will go to that individual student and show you more, or you can go to their assignment and see exactly what they answered. So you've got complete visibility into that student's performance. We also have some very visual ways of looking at data, which is very, very helpful. So here we've got a few different courses that are running, and we're comparing the overall distribution of scores, whether they're 90 and above, so doing very well, doing quite well with the yellow, or if they're only just passing, or perhaps below 70%, which is the obviously not doing as well in terms of mastery. But you can also view by the assignment and see how long students are spending in that assignment compared to what sort of scores they're getting. So you can know if assignments are too hard or perhaps too easy as well. Or you can look at that in a different way. You can even view it by the student. So you can see students that might be spending a lot of time but they're not doing very well. Or maybe they're spending not very much time at all but they're doing very well, which might indicate something else. You can then group these students, as you can see here. So you can see the quadrants of students that might be struggling, students that are doing very well. But it's a very easy way to see how your class and individual students are doing and how long they're spending on your assignments, their average scores, and so on. So this can really help you see what concepts your students might be struggling with, provides you with defensible grading, and allows you tools for finding struggling students early. Now this is really essential, as I said, to intervene to enhance their learning, one, but also help them before they drop out and become a lack of retention statistic. Now, Pearson MyLabs now include a solution to engaging students in the classroom. So I mentioned this before, learning catalytics. It's a bring-your-own-device system that allows you to ask complex conceptual questions in class and have your students answer in real time. Now, you may have heard of clickers or used clickers before, but this goes far beyond that traditional clicker system. It provides you with a real pedagogy to drive active learning and also peer learning in a lecture, tutorial, or even online with a few different modes. The feedback students give from the answers and the voluntary interactivity they have in the system allows you to change the way you teach away from static content delivery to dynamic and different experiences with better outcomes for learners that really makes them want to attend your lectures and tutorials. So here we can see a question. The students can see it on their device like this very easily. You can see where they're sitting and what answers they're giving around the classroom. You can deliver multiple times. So you might be able to deliver a question, find that students are not really understanding. You might be able to then probe a bit deeper, find out what's wrong, or ask them to talk to their peers and actually have the system group them into peer learning groups and come back and try again. It's all designed to help you understand what your students are understanding or not understanding while engaging them in that learning process. Also, all of this data is tracked. If you need to go back and see how the students answered, what questions they asked, all that data is available to you in the gradebook and learning catalytics as well. And I mentioned that you could do a few different types. There's the sort of instructor-led synchronous mode, which is the face-to-face teaching where you have total control. You can automate that. You can put it online for self-paced tests. You can even create team-based assessments within it as well. And when I mentioned that it was a little more advanced than clickers, rather than having just a couple of question types, multiple choice, we have 18 different question types, from image-based questions, data collections, confidence highlighting sections, might be good in a literacy class. They can upload images, the regular multiple choice, many choice, numerical, regions where they have to press a section on a picture to show something. rankings. There's so many different ways that you can ask questions. Word clouds, and you can even put your slides in there if you want to run your slides through the system rather than jumping from Learning Catalytics back to your PowerPoints. So there's a massive amount of variation and different ways that you can ask questions, and we have a community of other educators out there that are creating content and putting it up for everybody to use or adjust if they want to as well. So I hope now that you have an appreciation of what a Pearson MyLab can do for you and your students. But no tool can produce a measurable outcome without being used properly. So when implementing MyEducationLab into your teaching, I would strongly encourage you to look into our MyLab best practices. So these have provided the best results for millions of users around the world. Pearson is in the business of proving the efficacy of our products so that you can be confident in using them, and we can offer more insights into how to make the most from technology in your teaching. So with the collected evidence and stories from successful MyLab implementations around the world, I think we can offer a few critical insights that can help you modify this into your particular teaching style of teaching. So knowing this, you might be wondering how you can do this, what help you might be able to get. How does Pearson support you when you have such a new technology and possible changes in how you're going to deliver your course? So we're very aware that change can be a difficult process, and you have a really large amount of responsibilities you're trying to balance as an academic. So it's in Pearson's best interest to make sure that you and your students are fully supported so we can see measurable learning improvements from your students and make sure that your teaching is more efficient as well. So Pearson have dedicated teams ready to help in this transition. We have field-based consultants and learning technology managers who are on campus and can help you. You've probably met many of them. We also have a office-based customer experience team who specialise in deliver personalised training and pedagogical help and implementation into your teaching. So they can really help you understand how to do this and get the most out of it. We also have IT specialists who work with your IT teams to get that LMS integration I was talking about before. So we have dedicated experts willing to work with your IT guys to make sure that seamless integration works perfectly. We also have a dedicated local team of technical supports for academics and students. So you can just call up in business hours and get help anytime you need that. But if it's outside of business hours, we also have a 24/7 support website. So even if it's the middle of the night, you'll be able to get technical support if you need to via live chat or emails and so forth, or a really large range of FAQs that might be able to help you sort of understand and get that right. So we really want to make sure that we provide the services to make sure everything runs smoothly for you and your students. Okay, I hope this has given you some insight into what the new MyEducationLabs can do for you and your students. I hope it's given you some ideas for how it might be able to fit into your teaching for best effect. So if anyone has any questions at this point, I'm going to open it up, type it into the question field, and I'll answer any of these we have before we run out of time. And if you do have any other questions, though, always feel free to contact me afterwards, and we can put up an FAQ for anybody else who might want to watch the recording of this and get some more information. So I'll just wait a moment to see if anybody wants to ask a question. Or you can also put I think there's a way you can put your hand up, and I can unmute you as well if you want to ask. Yep, here we go, I've got a hand. Fiona, 1 second. I'm just unmuting you. Hi, Fiona.
Hi there. I just wondered what the costs are associated with this.
Yep, sure. So depending, there's a few different models that we can do. The students can purchase this on its own without an ebook online for $39.95. But what we usually do, and the best value we can do, is we shrink wrap it with a book, and that adds an extra maybe $10 to $12 onto the total cost of the book. But that gives them access to that MyLab, but it also gives them access to the ebook that goes with that as well. So they get a really good value deal if they buy the book and the lab themselves. But if they bought a second-hand book or something else, they can buy the MyLab online with or without an ebook. Obviously, with an ebook costs a little bit more, but that gives them an ebook they can use online. They can view on their iPad as well. And we also sell.
Right, so you're looking at
institutions, and that will be at a discounted rate for institutional purchase if you want to purchase that for your students.
Sorry, what was that about institutional rates?
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying that we also can sell directly to the institution. So if you, so if you wanted to make sure that every student had access and you wanted to streamline that process and get rid of all that sort of hassle of students having to get access codes, we can sell that directly to the institution at a discounted rate depending on student numbers and a whole bunch of other things. And that way we could definitely just make sure every student had access. So that's another option we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So if say the university was to buy it in that format, when the students are using their own devices in lectures, would we have to supply these devices to iPads, for instance? Or could they download it onto their own device?
For learning catalytics, the bring your own device system?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's designed around the fact that usually most students will have a device that's internet enabled, whether it's a smartphone, a laptop, or a tablet. Anything that can access the internet is all they need. So any student can have that. From an equity point of view, though, we understand that there might be some students out there that may not have a device, and so depending on what you're using it for, some people have just said that's fine. Anyone that doesn't can just share with the person next to them because we're not running it for any assessment purposes, but we do want most people to use them. But we also have had some institutions that have just bought some really old, cheap, what are they called, iPod touches or something like that, which are sort of obsolete technology, but you can get cheap, hand it out to any students that don't actually have a device for that lecture and get it back at the end. So they'll have access to the system, but that's just a few different ways that it can work. But generally we've found that there's not many students that don't have an internet-enabled device, but we do understand there might be a few out there, yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you, Fiona.
Okay, thank you.
I haven't got any other questions at the moment, so I guess we'll move on. If you have any further questions, though, feel free to email me. I hope that did give you some more insight into the details that you needed as well. But thank you for your time and interest. It's been a pleasure to run this session for you. We will be following up, as I said, with an email which will give you a recording of this if you want to show this to your colleagues, or if you want to review it and so forth. We're putting up any FAQ for any of those questions that came through. And you should also be expected to be contacted by one of our consultants soon to make sure that we can personally address your course needs, see if a MyLab solution would work for you as well. Oh, sorry, I mentioned the email address. Just contact marketing@pearson.com.au if you've got any further questions or if you need any further information. Excellent. Thank you very much and have a great day.